Imagine a global organization that's handling, tens of millions of dollars across multiple continents.
Right, like a massive multinational operation.
Exactly. But now picture this same organization operating with zero compliance officers, zero complex auditing software, and vault doors that are basically just left wide open.
Which is, I mean, that's completely wild. The conventional wisdom of modern economics
Yeah.
basically tells us an organization like that would just collapse overnight.
Oh, for sure. Because we operate on this fundamental assumption that if you leave money unguarded, human nature basically dictates that someone eventually is going to take it.
Right. It's the underlying premise of, like, almost all modern financial architecture. I mean, we build these elaborate systems of control time locks, encryption, oversight committees, all because we assume that self-interest and, often outright greed are just the default settings of the human operating system.
But what if you could find a community where that operating system hasn't just been tweaked, but like entirely rewritten, where the security cameras are turned off and the money just stays there?
Yeah, that's the dream, right?
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at a singular, absolutely fascinating source text today. It's this really short essay from 2023 written by an author named Swifeng, which was translated and edited by Kinyu.
Right.
The title is Looking at Chanyuan Celestials Through Money. And our mission for you today is to examine this radical real-world experiment and how humans interact with money, resource management and trust, all within this group called Lifechanyuan.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, so to really grasp the gravity of this text, we first need to clarify what Lifechanyuan actually is. The essay offers us this direct window into the inner workings of what we call an intentional community.
Right, which isn't just a normal neighborhood. Exactly. For those unfamiliar, an intentional community isn't just a place where people happen to, buy houses next to each other. It's a highly cohesive group of people who have actively chosen to live together.
Sharing everything.
Right, sharing resources, responsibilities, and it's all based on a really strict set of shared core values or social principles. By examining their financial mechanics, Schweffing's essay really forces us to challenge our most deeply held assumptions about what communal trust actually looks like in practice.
Well, and let's look at the sheer scale of the Lifechanyuan project first, because, this isn't just a dozen people sharing a vegetable garden out in a remote forest.
No, definitely not.
According to the text, over the past 16 years, this group has established 21 of what the author calls picturesque communities, and they are literally scattered across the globe. We are talking about branches in Zimbabwe, China, Thailand, South Korea, and Canada.
And that geographical spread, I mean, that introduces a massive variable into any kind of sociological experiment.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
You're dealing with entirely different legal systems, vastly different national economies, and, completely distinct cultural norms regarding wealth and property.
And across all those borders, over 16 years, the author states they have handled a total turnover of several tens of millions. But this essay makes this claim that just completely stops you in your tracks.
Embezzlement thing.
Yes. Shufeng writes that not a single person has embezzled or misappropriated these funds. Zero.
Which is staggering.
Right. Now, as someone reading this, I just have to push back hard. I mean, statistically speaking, in any organization handling tens of millions of dollars internationally, with all the friction and complexity that involves, someone skims off the top.
Yeah, it's human error or human greed.
It's almost a law of averages. I mean, even a typical neighborhood homeowners association struggles with missing funds, How is zero embezzlement practically possible in the real world?
What's fascinating here is how the author addresses that very impossibility. Juveng attributes this flawless track record entirely to what they call a pure and honest approach maintained by every single member.
The members being the Chanyuan Celestials.
Right. The text refers to them as Chanyuan Celestials. And the argument is that this group has developed an internal shared culture of financial integrity that just completely supersedes the external culture of whatever country they happen to be living in.
Huh.
They aren't relying on external controls to prevent embezzlement. The control mechanism is entirely internal and collective.
I mean, I understand the theory of that, but how does an internal culture actually override the sheer economic pressure of living in, say, a struggling economy versus a highly developed one?
Well, the essay doesn't just offer theory, right?
Yeah.
It gives us these specific ground-level examples of how this trust is tested.
Which brings us to a scenario from 2012 that feels, honestly, like a psychological pressure cooker.
Oh, absolutely.
So Shufeng was leaving the third branch to travel to the fourth branch. And before leaving, the author left 1,000 yuan just sitting right in a bedroom drawer.
Literally a completely unguarded pool of cash.
Unguarded and highly publicized. Shui Feng told over 30 Chanyuan celestials in that branch about the money.
Just, hey, the money is here.
Yeah, the instructions were basically whoever needs money can take it. You don't need to ask permission and you don't need to report it to anyone. Just take what you need.
Right.
And the crucial detail here is that Shu Feng promised them, quote, if it's not enough, I'll supplement it.
That's the kicker.
Right. So 6 months go by, the author returns, opens that bedroom drawer, and out of the 1,000 yuan, only 96 yuan had been taken. 904 yuan remained completely untouched by over 30 people over half a year.
Yeah, this specific anecdote completely defies conventional behavioral economics, particularly the concept known as the tragedy of the commons.
Oh, right, because usually when humans see an unguarded pool of communal resources, panic kind of sets in.
Exactly. The immediate thought process for most people is, if I don't take my share right now, someone else will, and there won't be any left for me.
Right, it's like one of those take a penny, leave a penny dishes you see at a convenience store, but, on steroids with actual stakes.
Yeah, high stakes.
But let's look at the psychology of those 30 people for a second. I have to wonder, for you listening, was this a genuine lack of material need, or was this just a massive panopticon effect?
Like everyone is watching everyone else.
Exactly. If 30 people know about a drawer of cash, everyone knows that everyone else knows about it. Isn't it possible that just intense social pressure kept that money safe? Nobody wants to be the person caught dipping into the communal drawer, even if they are technically allowed to.
You're touching on the fear of judgment, which, certainly regulates behavior in a lot of societies. But let's look closely at what Xu Feng did by offering to supplement the money if it ran out.
The guarantee.
Right. By guaranteeing the supply, the author fundamentally altered the nature of the resource. They totally neutralized the scarcity mindset.
Sure, neutralizing scarcity matters, but human nature basically dictates that we still hoard. I mean, even if you tell me the water tap will never run dry, if I've spent my life experiencing droughts, I'm still going to fill a few buckets in my room just in case.
Yeah, totally rational in the normal world.
So why wouldn't these individuals take a little extra just to have, like, a personal safety net?
Because the text suggests a much deeper psychological shift has occurred within the Chanyuan celestials. It isn't just about peer pressure or trusting the tap. It's about shifting how they perceive the object itself.
The money itself.
Right. Money moved from being a highly coveted, finite asset that represents your personal survival to just a mere utility.
Wow.
When a resource is guaranteed and the community's culture actively discourages hoarding, that panic dissipates. You only turn the tap on when you are genuinely thirsty. The individuals in the third branch access the drawer only for absolute immediate necessities, which apparently amounted to just 96 yuan over 6 entire months. The social conditioning of this intentional community just proves stronger than the ingrained human instinct to stockpile.
Man, that transition from coveted asset to mere utility is just a massive leap, and it raises a logical question. If removing the threat of scarcity stops people from hoarding communal cash, what happens when the money is explicitly handed to them?
When it's basically pushed into their hands.
Right. What happens when society tells them they should need it? The author's next example tackles this directly, jumping forward to a policy that was implemented in 2021. Lifechanyuan began offering a monthly living allowance of 1,500 yuan to about a dozen of their members who were elderly or physically frail.
Yeah, and this mirrors a very standard social safety net practice, right? It's akin to a disability allowance or a pension in the broader world.
Exactly the same concept, but the outcome is wildly different. After a year and a half of this policy being in place, Shui Feng writes that except for 2 or 3 individuals who genuinely needed the money for immediate use, the rest of them didn't even touch their monthly allowance.
They just gave it back.
Yeah, they returned it completely intact to the community. Here's where it gets really interesting, because if we look at modern society's view on entitlements, the default human instinct is to take what is yours.
Oh, definitely. The outside world basically operates on the principle of maximized individual advantage. If a system offers you a grant, a tax rebate, or a pension, you claim it.
Even if your bills are currently paid, you take that 1,500 yuan and you put it in a savings account. You essentially build a wall of cash around yourself just in case you need it for a medical emergency, like 5 years down the line.
It's viewed as a fundamental right.
Exactly. Yet these elderly members, who are arguably the most vulnerable people in the whole community, just handed their safety net right back.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this specific anecdote is incredibly revealing about how the Chanyuan Celestials actually manage risk and vulnerability. It shows them actively decoupling their personal financial security from the accumulation of personal wealth.
Because normally those are the exact same thing.
In the conventional world, wealth is synonymous with security. The larger your personal bank account, the safer you are from the unpredictable nature of old age or illness.
And we build those walls of cash because modern society is heavily atomized. If you get sick, you are largely on your own to pay for care. The money is literally the only thing protecting you.
Precisely. But the Chanyuan Celestials have effectively replaced financial capital with social capital. These elderly and frail members are willingly returning their financial safety net because their actual security doesn't come from that 1,500 yuan.
It comes from the community.
It comes from the collective, right? They possess a profound, internalized belief that if they fall ill or if they require long-term care, the community will mobilize to provide for them. When you have absolute faith in the collective safety net, the personal hoarding of that cash becomes completely redundant.
It's just a staggering display of vulnerability. They are stripping away their individual armor because they just fully trust the community shield.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But, trusting the community to take care of you is one thing. Trusting individuals to hold the community's entire nest egg is another level entirely. And the essay saves the highest stakes example for last, detailing a period when the community's central account had a massive surplus of 3 million yuan.
Right, which is a substantial amount of capital. It represents the collective labor and resources of the entire group.
A massive amount. And instead of locking it away in, like an investment portfolio or a traditional corporate trust, Shui Feng suggested this strategy that was referred to as hiding the wealth among the people.
Which is such a wild concept.
Yeah. They put out a call for volunteers. 20 people registered, and the community promptly transferred 50,000 yuan directly into the personal accounts of each of those 20 individuals.
Basically, relinquishing all centralized control over the surplus.
Just think about the sheer audacity of that move. It is the ultimate communal trust fall. Imagine your bank calling you up today and saying, hey, we have a bit of a surplus, and we'd like to distribute our risk. Do you mind holding on to 50 grand for us in your personal checking account? We'll let you know when we need it back.
I mean, the immediate risk of capital flight in a conventional setting would be astronomical. Traditional centralized banking is built entirely on the premise that the public cannot be trusted to self-manage collective wealth.
Right, they don't trust us at all.
No. Banks take individual deposits and concentrate them in a centralized, highly fortified vault, specifically to keep the money safe from individuals. Xu Feng's approach flips the entire philosophy of risk management on its head.
Taking a centralized community surplus and distributing it outward, it relies entirely on the integrity of the individual nodes in the network, rather than the strength of a central vault.
The author is testing whether the culture of integrity can actually withstand a massive, sudden influx of personal liquidity. And according to the text, it did. Sometime later, Shui Feng mentioned that the community needed funds to purchase a farm in Canada.
And the result is probably the most compelling piece of evidence in the whole essay. The text states that every single one of those 20 people swiftly transferred their 50,000 yuan right back to the community's account.
Just like that.
No hesitation, no one claiming the money was tied up in investments, no one asking for a commission for holding it.
The adverb swiftly is doing a lot of heavy lifting in Shui Feng's account there.
Yeah.
It indicates an absence of friction. It shows that the funds never became a source of personal attachment for those 20 people.
They didn't view it as theirs.
Right. And the author uses this progression of examples, the untouched drawer, the returned allowances, and the swift return to the distributed surplus, to formulate a core thesis about the longevity of the Lifechanyuan project.
The thesis being that staying unmoved by money is basically the essential ingredient for communal survival.
Exactly. Shui Feng argues that remaining completely unmoved in the face of monetary temptation is the primary reason these 21 communities have managed to stay so vibrant and functional for 16 years.
Because usually money is what ruins these projects.
Right. In most utopian or intentional community experiments, money eventually introduces friction. It breeds jealousy, creates informal hierarchies, and sparks debates over resource allocation. By neutralizing money's emotional and psychological grip on the individual members, Lifechanyuan claims to have eliminated the specific friction that tears most communal projects apart from the inside.
So, what does this all mean? When we zoom out and look at this text from top to bottom, the author is essentially presenting us with a group of people who have seemingly hacked human greed.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
And they haven't achieved this through, stricter laws, more invasive surveillance, or better auditing software. They claim to have achieved it by replacing the deeply ingrained fear of scarcity with an unbreakable, verifiable chain of communal trust.
And Sufeng is acutely aware of how unbelievable or even naive this sounds to those of us operating in the conventional economy. The essay concludes by turning the analytical lens right back onto the reader.
Right.
After reflecting on 16 years, multiple international branches, tens of millions handled, and the complete lack of embezzlement, the author ends with a highly provocative, rhetorical question aimed directly at the outside world. Sufeng asks, so tell me, what kind of people are the Chanyuan Celestials? Are the Chanyuan Celestials foolish?
It is such a brilliant way to end the essay because it forces you to evaluate the mechanics of your own surroundings. I want you listening right now to think about that for a second.
Yeah, apply it to your own life.
Think about your own neighborhood, your workplace, or even your extended family. If someone ran the open drawer test tomorrow, like if they left a stack of cash on a table with a note saying, take what you need, I'll refill it if it runs out, how long would that money actually last?
Probably not long.
Would it sit there for 6 months? Or would it be on in like 6 minutes? The text holds up a mirror and really forces you to confront the baseline levels of trust operating in your own daily life.
It really highlights the exhaustion of living in a low-trust society, where we spend vast amounts of energy and resources just guarding our assets from each other.
Yeah.
And I think there is one final larger implication we can draw from this text to sort of mull over.
What's that?
Well, if a community's members can demonstrably reach this state of 100% interpersonal trust, a state where absolutely no one hoards, where wealth is seamlessly distributed out to individual nodes and returned on demand without a single cent going missing, it begs a massive structural question. Does a community like this even need physical money to function internally in the long run? Or has trust itself evolved to a point where it can entirely replace their need for currency?
Man, that is the ultimate paradox. If the vault door is always open and no one ever steals, maybe you eventually realize you don't even need the vault or the money inside it at all.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.